An injured field hand. Let's find out what happened.
This is no place to wander aimlessly, traveler. The foul beasts are vicious and hungry for blood.
Foul beasts?
Ugliest hounds Drovir has ever seen. This one just finished checking the new grapes and was on his way to the auction when it came out of nowhere. Ripped up Drovir's leg real good.
Lord Valente invited his servants to attend the auction?
Drovir thought the request was strange too, but Lord Valente insisted, and Lady Valente specifically told Sentry Helvius to let the servants in, even if we didn't have the fancy invitations. If you're here for the auction, you should head inside.
The vineyard is growing a new kind of grape?
Lord Valente developed the new seeds in his alchemical laboratory under the manor. They grow thorny vines that bear a crimson grape unlike anything Drovir has ever seen before. Once the first vintage was ready, Lord Valente set up this auction.
Tell me more about Lady Valente.
Lord Valente's new wife, a high elf with a name too complicated for this one's Khajiiti tongue. Drovir believes they met during young Galio's time away. But what does this old field hand know of such things?
Is there anything unusual about either Lord or Lady Valente?
Unusual? Well, this one does not like to talk out of turn, but Drovir hears that Lady Valente wants to be more involved in running the vineyard, but Lord Valente refuses to include her. This one wonders why he even married her.
What should I know about Lord Galio Valente?
He came back from his travels different. Even his father was concerned about the changes in his beloved son. But shortly after young Galio returned, his father fell ill and died. Galio inherited the vineyard, the title, and all that entailed.
What can you tell us about the auction?
Just that he invited some important guests. He's been working on the new grapes for a special vintage since he returned, and he's very proud of it. Says it's going to make him even more rich and powerful. Can that be?
Fenorian?
Let's keep looking around. I'll try to make sure nothing catches us by surprise. Plenty of places to lurk unnoticed in this vineyard.
Vineyard grapes. Inside. We go around. Oh, Death Hound.
My magic will destroy you.
Death Hound times 2.
Let's look more closely at those grapes. It appears the grapes did not agree with this Death Hound. Death Hounds are vampiric creatures. What are they doing sniffing around a vineyard when there's bound to be far more blood at the manor?
What have you been up to since the last time we met, Fenorian?
Oh, the usual. Advancing my studies, investigating for House Ravenwatch. I must say, I do like West Weald's climate. Much less damp and chilly than what we have over in Rivenspire. I will tell Adusa and Gwendis I ran into you, though.
Sorry, I already talked to you about that last episode. It is nice to see more of the old gang from past expansions. Valente Vineyard grapes. The grapes grown in the Valente Vineyard are large and display a deep crimson hue, unlike any other grape you've seen.
The scent wafting off those grapes. It's tantalizing. Curious. Let's talk. Just as Count Ferrandis taught me, there is always something to learn if you simply pay attention. The field hand was attacked by a death hound, a sure indication of vampiric activity. And he provided a wealth of information. Don't you agree?
You mean about Lord Galio Valente, Lady Valente, And the new grapes?
So you were listening. Good. The field hand described Galio as different when he returned. He developed a new grape to make him richer and more powerful, and he recently married a high elf, but the marriage already seems troubled.
What do you think of the grapes we examined in the dead Death Hound?
The grapes were developed using alchemy. They've been infused with blood, and I find the aroma tantalizing. But I dare not try one. Look what consuming the grapes did to the Death Hound. Our next step is to attend the auction. You shall be my guest.
Won't they notice that I'm not a vampire?
The field hand assumed you were a guest of the auction, and the invitation did say to bring my most favored mortal servant. If anyone asks, you're the blood servant of Master Bogvir, the vampire I shall pretend to be and whose invitation I carry.
Bogvir? Alright, let's head into the auction.
The invitation indicates we're to head to the walled garden just east of the manor. I suppose that's where they're letting the guests gather prior to the start of the auction. Shall we proceed?
Let us proceed. To the east. Through this maze of vines.
Halt! Your invitation, please.
Right, here you are.
Welcome, Master Bogvir, and guest. I'll escort you to Lord Valente, this way.
Totally unnecessary. I'll find him. Thanks.
That's Master Bogvir. Not what I expected. You should follow your master, and guest.
Just a moment. Let's talk first. So, do I look like a Master Bogvir? Probably not. But we work with the tools we're given. Let's split up and mingle. Talk to servants, guests, whoever's willing to chat.
What are we trying to learn in here?
Anything that can tell us the true purpose of this auction. Vampires don't need wine, especially made from grapes that apparently poisoned a death hound. Try not to come off as too curious, though. We're supposed to be guests here, after all.
Are you going to question people too?
I am. But as soon as we walked in, I was hit with sudden pangs of hunger. Not unlike when I smelled those grapes, but much stronger. Luckily, I carry a flask of blood for times of need. I'll just find an out-of-the-way spot to take a sip.
Understood. I'll ask around and I'll see what I can learn.
Can I offer you a glass of our new Vesper Valente?
Certainly. I'm very curious about this wine.
Really? You're the first of Lord Valente's guests to accept the wine. I hope you enjoy it.
What? Why did you... Okay.
I'd offer you a glass, but your friend just took the last one. I wasn't expecting that. None of the other guests I've served this evening even tried it. Only their attendants and servants.
Isn't this the wine that the servants have come to bid on at the auction?
It is. The vineyard's latest vintage, Vesper Valente. Lord Valente did tell us that his guests probably wouldn't want to try it before the auction, but that I should freely provide it to their attendants and servants.
Have you tried the wine? What does it taste like?
I have. Lord Valente was generous enough to let all the vineyard workers and servants have a glass before the guests arrived. It was salty and crisp, with a slight metallic aftertaste. Something to do with Lord Valente's alchemical process, I think.
Sounds terrible. Fenorian, you didn't want to try the grapes, but you had the wine that was probably made from those grapes.
A large gathering of vampires typically means trouble, but I've seen no evidence of violence as yet. Let's be very careful in how we proceed. We don't want to accidentally set off a blood frenzy now, do we?
Isn't that the wine made from the grapes that killed the Death Hound outside?
Indeed, but I took the barest of tastes. Certainly not anywhere near the amount of grapes the Death Hound consumed. The aroma says drink me, but the flavor? Definitely not something I want to imbibe in great quantities. At least not in this form.
Alright, good. Resist. Little willpower there. Let's slowly have a chat to Lord Farik at Malik.
You there! I am bored, and my hounds are hungry. Will the auction start soon, or must we continue this Colovian dance of manners and pleasantries while my gold sits unspent?
I'm not sure when the auction will begin.
Apologies. I mistook you for a Valente servant. Lord Valente is clever, and if the wine accomplishes a fraction of what he claims, the waiting will have been worth it. But I would prefer to simply buy what I want, and not deal with an auction.
Remind me, what's so special about the wine?
Haven't you tried it yet? You really must sample the vintage for yourself. I suggest you find a glass quickly, before the auction begins. All of the servants and attendants must have that wine flowing through their veins for the main event.
Right. Enjoy the party.
I heard Lord Valente and his new bride loathe each other.
Why would he marry a mortal? It's beneath him.
Is this Vesper Valente really as special as it sounds?
Oh, Lord Valente is certainly proud of his new creation.
Wouldn't that be something?
Am I gonna find somebody here? From the past? Somebody probably enjoying himself? Maybe not.
Another one of my husband's guests. No, you're either an attendant or a servant, I'd wager. Who brought you to my husband's little affair? Pray tell.
I'm here with Master Bogvir.
Master Bogvir? Is that the name he uses now? You know, he bears a striking resemblance to an old acquaintance of mine. In fact, I'm sure of it. How is Fenorian? And why has he come to Valente Vineyard?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
No? And why don't I believe you? No, don't worry. I have no desire to reveal Fenorian's deception to my husband. Not before I learn what's going on here, the same as you. Be so kind as to let Fenorian know I'd like to speak to him when he's free.
As you wish. Fenorian? Fenorian? We got a problem. Where'd you go? I saw you walking off over here somewhere. Where's Fenorian? Where'd he go? You dancing? Are you dancing? Nope. Oh, well, let's have a chat.
Ah, welcome. I'm Lord GameolioDan, the humble proprietor of Valente Vineyards and Winery. You, however, have me at a disadvantage. I do not believe we've met. Which of my acquaintances decided to bring you along as their guest today?
I'm here with Master Bogvir.
Bogvir, of course. Where is my old friend? Still upset about that little incident? No matter. I was hoping to clear things up before the auction got underway. Send him over to talk to me the next time you see him.
He is mingling, but I can pass along a message if you want.
Oh, don't trouble yourself. Any guest of Bogvir's is welcome. Enjoy yourself, and do make sure to try the wine.
Right. I'll do that.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I must prepare for the auction.
Off he goes. Oh, you're right there, Fen. Fenno.
This wine is specifically meant for the mortals here, not the vampires. So why are the vampires bidding on it? And why is my flask doing little to curb my rising hunger? Tell me you learned something more, my friend.
Lord Valente's wife is Ursula Valente. She seems to know you and wants to talk to you.
I'm sorry? Did you say Lady Valente's name is Ursilia? Oh, she's that Ursilia. Should we leave? Maybe we can sneak out the way we came in.
She seemed as interested in finding out what her husband is up to as you are.
Right. We do need to figure out what's going on here. All right, I'll stay and talk to Ithelia. You head into the manor and see if you can find Lord Valente's office. Something in there might tell us more about the purpose of this wine.
How does Ithelia know you?
That's a story for another time, friend. Let's stay focused. You see what you can find in the manor, while I talk to Lady Valente.
All right.
Don't worry. We can talk more later. In the meantime, go and search Lord Valente's office. He must have one inside the manor.
I go to search. Do you say anything new?
Not now, friend of the Bogvir who isn't. I have more important matters to consider than whatever it is that interests you.
Okay. 22. Do I need to sneak around? Do I need to be a sneaky Nord? Maybe not. This isn't the way, though. Find Galio's... Oh, it's right here. That was easy. Bogvir's letter. Galio, first you recruit my own vampires away from me, offering them false promises and so-called new opportunities in West Weald. Then you invite me to bid on the very alchemical recipe you stole from me. Does your audacity know no bounds? I'll admit that while I knew the ambrosial concoction could double or triple our innate vampiric powers, you were the one to figure out how to do it without also killing us, or so you claim. So, here's my thought. I'm inclined to take a case or two off your hands, but if you expect me to pay for it, then you're even more of a fool than I give you credit for. Set aside 2 cases of wine for me at the auction, or I'll not only turn the other covens against you, I'll tell the Fighters Guild of Ravenwatch what you're up to, Bogvir. A winery key? A key to the winery at the vineyards? And his journal? Why did I ever agree to marry that woman? Yes, she comes from an impressive fortune and I can certainly use the money, but she is annoyingly curious and wants to be an actual partner in this marriage. That's not how I want to do things. My first few weeks as a vampire were challenging, but it wasn't long before I decided to take control of my destiny and make the most of my new condition. It wasn't hard to form my own coven out of the disgruntled among Bogvir's clan. Most of them hate that pushy vampire. Still, I have to hand it to Bogvir. He really hit a gold mine with that recipe he found in an old scroll. Too bad he isn't as good an alchemist as he is a bloodthirsty vampire. I, on the other hand, am a very good alchemist. Back home in my own alchemical laboratory, and the tests are going exceedingly well. Yes, some of the test subjects turn into blood fiends, but you can't make an omelette without breaking some eggs. Of course, Father has figured out what happened to me and is mad with grief and rage. I suppose I'll need to do something about that. He lived a long life, so I'll just consider it a mercy. My idea is finally paying off. While a vampire can't consume the elixir made from the mushrooms grown in vampire blood directly and survive long enough to reap the benefits, if the elixir is funneled through an intermediary, we receive the power without any of the poisonous effects. By floating the elixir in solution of wine fermented from my alchemically prepared grapes, seeds grown in soil enriched with the mushrooms, the wine can then be consumed by a non-vampire. This allows us to then feed off the non-vampire fortified with the wine and therefore receive the benefits of the elixir. The fact that we need to totally consume the vessel containing the wine is unfortunate, but acceptable. And the grapes give off a scent that makes vampires ravenous. At least 2 of my new clan defied my orders and consumed handfuls of the first harvest. They died horribly. I call it Vesper Valente, a perfect vintage. Now to invite the leaders of nearby vampire covens to come bid on the wine, or make a fortune, enough to keep the vineyards in operation, so to keep my miserable wife happy until I dispose of her, and to keep my family legacy intact, and all while I gain power by consuming my own product through any mortal vassals and victims I acquire, of course. Dastardly.
You again? What are you doing in my husband's office?
Lady Ithelia, let me have a chat to you about some things. Fenorian, oh no, we already read that. Lady Vesper Valente called me searching my husband's office. I should tell her what Lord Valente is really planning.
You and Fenorian, never in the right place at the right time. So, did you find what you were looking for? Share it with me, and maybe I won't call down to the winery for my husband's army of mercenaries.
Valente is a vampire, I'm sure she knew that. His wine makes vampires more powerful, but only when consumed from a mortal.
Let me see that journal. By the stars, he killed his own father, and he plans to kill me. Oh, he's a cretin and a monster. And yes, pouring wine into people just so you can eat them and gain unnatural power is pretty bad too. Damn it! I drank the wine!
You didn't know Lord GameolioDan was a vampire?
I suspected something was amiss. Since I arrived, we haven't consummated our marriage, and he spends his time down in the winery, locked in his alchemy laboratory with his mercenaries. Plus, he covets my family's fortune. But a vampire... makes sense.
So what now?
This vineyard could be a motherlode in the right hands. My hands, friend of Fenorian, not my husband's. I assume you're here to stop him? Help Fenorian finish the task, and I'll forgive him for the affront he visited upon me and my family.
Right, I'll get this information to Fenorian.
Make sure you do. I have no intent to serve as a wine glass for my husband.
Ithelia, I suppose I owe you an explanation.
Of course you do, but I don't care. Just talk to your friend and deal with my husband.
All right, if you say so. Lord Valente is well and truly into the auction now, so we have a bit of time. I never expected to find Ithelia here with you, though. What did you discover? And what did she mean by deal with her husband?
Lord Valente's journal explains everything. Here, take a look.
Interesting. He really spells it out, doesn't he? Alchemically enhanced mushrooms used as fertilizer for alchemically treated grape seeds. And the hunger. I wasn't losing control, it's an effect of the grapes. Well, that's a relief.
So if a non-vampire drinks the wine, then a vampire drains them and gains power?
That does seem to be the general idea. If we allow this to spread, the ramifications will be staggering. Even relatively peaceful vampires might be tempted to start killing out of hand. We need to stop this. What were you and Ithelia discussing?
Ithelia says if you deal with her husband, she'll forgive your affront against her and her family.
Oh, yes. I do suppose I owe her for that. I'm no hired assassin, but I do make a habit out of disposing of dangerous vampires. We will do what is necessary to end this threat. Nothing more, nothing less. And that begins with destroying the wine.
The winery and the alchemical laboratory are downstairs. I found the key.
Head downstairs and scout the area. I'll follow along shortly. I need to try to make things right with Ithelia. And maybe I have something in my alchemy kit to deal with the wine in her system. Just the smell of it makes me hungry.
Wait a moment. What did you do to make Ithelia so angry with you?
We were betrothed. A marriage arranged by our families. There might have been some affection there, but it was mostly a business agreement. When I became a vampire, I just left. I thought it would be a mercy.
How did you get turned into a vampire?
As much as I trust you and value your company, my friend, that's not a story I feel like sharing. Especially not here and now. Maybe someday. I hope you understand.
After everything we've gone through, friend, come on, buddy. Anyway, she never knew what happened to you?
No. I didn't want to hurt anyone I knew. Ithelia, my family. So I simply left. Eventually, Count Verandis found me and made me part of House Ravenwatch. Rivenspire is a long way from Somerset, and West Weald is farther still. I never expected this.
Are you going to honor her request?
I'm not going to go out of my way to kill Galio, if that's what you're asking. We do need to destroy his operation, though. This elixir turned wine is too dangerous to distribute to aggressive vampire clans. What happens after that is up to him. Urselia, before we talk, let me see if I've got anything that will flush the wine from your system.
I'm not drunk, Fenorian. I only had a glass or two.
I'll leave them to it. As we enter the winery. There we go. Use that key. Valente Winery, the cellar and series of caves beneath Valente Manor, make the perfect location to prepare and store wine made by grapes and stuff.
Right behind you, friend.
Fenorian.
Valente's journal said he had a coven of vampires. We should expect a fight.
I always expect a fight. I mean, not much of a fight, but I do swing my axe around a little bit. Breathe a little fire and flame. Ooh, oh, look at this. We got little scamps. Is that little scamps or is that blood fiends? Crushing. Oh, man. That's what you're drinking, Fenorian. That a mine?
Captives, and apparently under the influence of the wine. Friend, let's speak. These workers must be some of the subjects Galio mentioned in his journal. They're on the verge of turning into blood fiends. I might be able to mix a counteragent with the proper ingredients.
What ingredients do you need?
Grape pulp left over from the Vesper Valente wine, wax flower petals to hasten the recovery process, and imperial oak tannins to make the remedy effective topically. Find those items around the winery while I make preparations.
Interesting. Alright, let's go and find that. There, and there. Time stopped permanently. Whoops. No, I didn't want to... Oh, whatever. Drink some rose tea. Wax flower petals. A handful of wax flower petals for Fenorian's counteragent. Follow that around. Should get us our next ingredient. Blood fiend down.
We did it!
We did. Time stopped. It's not where I was aiming for, but still got 2 out of 3. Imperial oak tannin, a bitter powder scraped from the bark of imperial oak trees. Now, hopefully I can follow that and I just like drop down here or something. Whoa, what the? Where'd that music come from? Why did it turn into some sort of battle music for a second? Or is it because I broke one of our pieces of gear or something? Some sort of heroic music, battle music playing? Stomp to oblivion, it is, blood fiends. Stomping and crushing forever. Grape pulp. Grapes freshly smashed for winemaking, especially cultivated by GameolioDan. Alright, let's go head back up. You guys are nothing. Ember? Oh, what are you doing, Ember? I froze him just for you. Go on, Ember.
The fox!
No. She must be busy. Watch me go. I'm trying to, but you don't do anything.
Oh, good. I was starting to worry. I'm glad you're back. Did you find everything we need?
I found the ingredients you requested.
Once I've brewed the counter agent, pick up the bucket and splash the remedy over our poor patients. It's not the most dignified way to administer medicine, but it works without putting either of you at risk.
Alright, I'll pour the cure on these victims.
And that should do it. You're free to administer the cure.
Just throw the bucket. Get administered. You good? Her name is Rat.
Looks like the effects are already subsiding.
You saved us. Please, you need to stop him. Thank you for helping us. Please tell me you're also here to stop Lord Valente.
We are. How did you wind up in that cage?
We really thought things were looking up. Lord Valente had such grand ideas for the vineyard and winery. He even asked us to try a new vintage he was working on. We felt so honored. Then we started to get sick and he locked us down here.
Any idea where to find Lord Valente's laboratory?
Yes, it's right through those doors to the west. He's growing weird mushrooms and has all kinds of alchemical equipment. Destroy his equipment and burn the mushrooms. That should put an end to his vile experiments.
I'll see what we can do.
We need to destroy that laboratory. You scout ahead while I work on freeing these people. I'll meet you there.
Got it. Find his laboratory.
You lead while I look around.
Oh, you were quick. Hello there.
There was something wrong about you.
Let's dance. Time stop punk. Oh, it didn't work. Look at the bats.
Come to me.
got his friends here. Whenever you'd like to jump in there, Fenorian.
Not I do everything myself!
I'll zap him. I don't know if time stop works at all. Leave Emperor alone!
I hope I help.
Alright, to the laboratory. Let's burn it. Oh, wouldn't you want to just go here and just kick one of them? And then watch them all go down like dominoes?
This is it. The laboratory. We need to destroy it all. Let me explain, friend. Valente's alchemical equipment is truly impressive. It's a shame we have to destroy it, but we need to make sure no one else can continue his experiments.
What do we need to do?
These vats turn the mushrooms into a fertilizer for the grapes. Increase the flames under the vats by adjusting the valves. That will increase the pressure. After that, set fire to the mushroom planters, then get clear before the vats explode.
You seem disappointed we need to destroy this equipment.
A part of me hates to see valuable equipment go to waste, but we can't allow more of the Vesper Valente to be created. Now come on, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Turn up the flame valves as high as they'll go. I'll get rid of these research notes.
Okay. Let's crank it.
Now, the mushrooms. A few well-placed torches should ignite the entire harvest. That's it. Let's get out of here.
It looks so beautiful. Alright, let's get out of here. Be smelling and breathing in those fumes.
Ithelia, about your husband.
Not now, Fenorian. I have more important matters. As I was saying, I'll compensate double wages for all who remain. With your expertise, we'll revive the traditional methods and be producing excellent wine in no time.
They don't seem too excited. At least not yet anyway. What are you drinking?
That was excellent
What
work,
was he
friend.
drinking?
We destroyed Lord Galio's laboratory and managed to rescue the workers he experimented on. There might be some ramifications over remaining Vesper Valente, but it won't become the sweeping problem I feared.
But we didn't stop the auction.
We didn't have to. Ithelia told me she interrupted the auction and told Lord Galio in a voice loud enough for all to hear that the Raven Watch was on the premises. One mention of House Ravenwatch and the invited vampires fled the estate.
So none of them got any of the Vesper Valente?
Perhaps a few bottles were carried off, but none of them had time to load any casks or crates before they fled. I'll track them down eventually. And before I take my leave, I'll make sure the remaining vintage is destroyed.
What happens to the Valente vineyard now?
Ithelia is set on taking control and turning the vineyard and winery into a profitable enterprise. I have no doubt she'll succeed. And speaking of succeeding, your help was invaluable in stopping Lord Galio. Please, take this with my thanks.
You're giving me one of his vintages, hopefully. Not using those grapes, right?
I suppose you're off on another adventure now, friend. Know that I appreciate the assistance you provided, and the companionship. If you ever have need of House Ravenwatch, just send the word. We always have time for our friends.
Will you return to Rivenspire now, Fenorian?
Eventually. After I make sure any remnants of Lord Gallio's vile experiments are taken care of here, then I may check on the auction guests that scattered and see that any absconded bottles of Vesper Valente are dealt with. There's always something.
I suppose I should thank you. Even Fenorian came through for me this time. My husband's foul operation is finished, and his coven... is that really what he called it? We'll scatter before long. Now begins the hard work of restoring this vineyard.
What was Fen like when you knew him?
Much like he still is. Always a perfect gentleman. Our first moment alone after our families arranged our engagement, I told him to drop any pretense of romantic interest. Oh, how he blushed. Pity those pale cheeks won't ever blush again.
You were fine with marrying someone you didn't love, or who didn't love you?
Fine with it. I was relieved. In families as wealthy as ours, marriage isn't like some Breton romance novel. It's business. Love never makes for good business. But I never expected him to just disappear like that. It was rude and hurtful.
Would you have gone through with the marriage if you knew he was a vampire?
Obviously, that change occurred right before the marriage. But probably not. If he hadn't disappeared without a trace, his family would have disowned him. Marrying a pauper would not have been good business. I am pleased he seems happy, though.